Hi, I'm Kristian, CEO and founder of Ooni. We love all types of pizza, and recently I've been getting into making Detroit-style pizza. It's the most talked about style of pizza in the past year, but what is it? There are three styles of pizza that are all very similar to each other: Sicilian, Grandma, and Detroit-style pizza. They all start with a high hydration focaccia-style bread dough, and they're all baked in metal pans. But the way you handle the dough, the exact type of pan, and the way you cook the pizzas vary between each other. Today I'll be showing you how to make Detroit-style pizza. This style started in Detroit when people began using metal pans used in car industry to bake pizzas in. This also gives the Detroit-style pizza its distinctive rectangular shape. To make this pizza, the dough is allowed to rise inside the oil pan, and it's got a generous toppings with lots of cheese and sauce. It's a thick pizza that has a nice crunch all around the edges and bottom of the crust, but still quite light and fluffy on the inside. Let's get started. Equipment-wise, you'll need electric scales, a mixer, a large bowl, metal pan, tea towels, and of course your oven and an infrared thermometer. For the ingredients, you'll need 350 grams of strong bread flour, 260 grams of warm water, 3 grams of instant dry yeast, 10 grams of salt, and 20 grams of olive oil, plus extra for the baking trays. I'm gonna measure the flour, first of all. By magic, it's the right amount. Next up, we'll measure water into a bowl. And we'll add our salt. Add yeast into the water. And finally, we're going to go in with 20 grams of olive oil. And in she goes. Now I'm going to mix the dough on a low to medium setting for about 5 minutes until the dough is fully combined and it's got a smooth, silky texture to it. Alright, we've had the mixer running for about 5 minutes now, and what we're looking for is this sort of silky, smooth texture to the dough. And as you've got your dough in the mixing bowl, I'm just going to cover it in room temperature and leave it to double in size. That should take about 2 to 4 hours, depending on your room temperature. I'll set this aside. Now, a few hours before you want to start baking your dough, you take your pizza pan and your oil. I'm just going to give it a little bit of oil. So it's really important not to put in too much because it'll gather in the corners and that's not nice. So just a light coating like that. I'm going to go in with my fingers and just make sure that it's everywhere around the base like this. Oil here is a really important step because that helps keep the pizza moving, and it gives you that caramelization that you're looking for in the base of your Detroit-style pizza. Here I've got a dough we've prepared earlier, so this has risen for about 2 to 3 hours. I've got a little bit of oil in my hands, so it makes taking the dough out a bit easier. And now we're just going to start gently kind of dimpling it from the top. And as you're doing this with your fingers, you're kind of at the same time pushing the dough towards the corners. You've got to repeat this step a few times, as you kind of want to leave the dough to relax and rise and do it all over again like that. And there we go. Now, the dough looks like that, and I'm gonna just cover it up again and leave it to proof for another 30 minutes. And after that 30 minutes, I'm just gonna repeat that step until I've got the dough all the way to the corners. With this dough, I've repeated the steps a couple of times, so I've got the dough almost to the corners. If you find that the pizza doesn't quite stretch to the edges, just repeat the step of dimpling and rising a couple of times and it will get to the edges. I'm gonna do final kind of slight gentle pushing of it, and now at this point you'll feel that dough has this really nice, lovely, billowy feel to it. Traditionally, Detroit-style pizza is made with Wisconsin brick cheese, which is really quite hard to come by anywhere outside Wisconsin and Michigan. But what I find is a really good alternative is shredded mozzarella and cheddar to go on it. So I'm gonna get my cheese. I'm gonna go all the way to the edges. So for one more time, I'm gonna take a tea towel, cover it up, and let it proof for another 30 minutes before doing final toppings and getting it baked. Now it's time to fire up your Ooni pizza oven. Get it up to 840 degrees Fahrenheit or 450 degrees Celsius for about 30 minutes to ensure that stone baking board is hot enough to bake the pizza really well. You can use one of these infrared thermometers to double check your stone temperature. Kind of one of those defining features of Detroit style pizza is the toppings go upside down. So we've got the cheese under, make sure that it goes all the way to the edges like that. Next up, we're gonna go with plenty of pepperoni, just get them everywhere. And finally, sauce often is done as these racing stripes that go through the middle, so we'll do just that. There we go, so we're gonna go with another stripe on the other side. And just before it goes into the oven, we're gonna turn the oven all the way down to its minimum power so we don't cook this too fast. So of course, Detroit style pizza it's quite thick and fluffy, so we don't wanna burn the outside and not cook the inside. Like that, I'm gonna do final double check on the stone temperatures here, so we're getting about 450 on the stone. As you get your Detroit style pizza in here, I'm just gonna leave it at the very front of the oven here, so we're not putting it right into the flame. So the bake time for Detroit style pizza really depends on how thick the pizza is and of course how hot your oven is. But somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes is gonna be great. So let's have a look at this one. All right, here we go. Beautifully unified Detroit style pizza.